From we Germans to we Jews, the pivot to racial Zionism. Moses Hess didn't change course, he changed costumes. The man who once wrote as we the German people, glorifying Teutonic blood as the engine of civilization, returned 25 years later with a new proclamation, we the Jewish people. But the DNA of the ideology didn't shift, it mutated. In Rome and Jerusalem, 1862, Hess didn't abandon German racial supremacy, he transplanted it into a new racial host. And what emerged was something just as dangerous as nationalism. A caste ideology in the skin of liberation, built on German pseudoscience and baptized in the trauma of the Jewish diaspora. By 1862, Hess was no longer writing as a servant of German destiny. Now he claimed to speak for the Jewish people. But the Judaism he conjured bore no resemblance to Torah, mitzvot, or the prophetic tradition. His new Jew was a racial soldier, a purified product of breeding, exile, and blood memory. Judaism no longer a religion, but a nationality. With this declaration, Hess split Judaism from its ethical foundations. He carved out the soul and replaced it with biology. The covenant was no longer moral, it was genetic. In Hess's new framework, Jews were not a people defined by law, learning, or divine relationship. They were a tribe defined by bloodline, land, hunger, and collective racial destiny. The exact same values Hess had exalted in Germans 2 decades earlier. This was a calculated pivot, a fusion of the chosen religion with the chosen bloodline. Hess took the core structure of German racial ideology with its emphasis on breeding, purity, and national rejuvenation and applied it wholesale to Jewish identity. In his own words, the Jewish religion is dead, but Jewish nationality still lives. Hess didn't mourn the death of Judaism as a faith. He celebrated it because, in its place, he could build something new, a racial project, modeled on German blood myth that promised redemption through selection and return. Hess saw anti-Semitism as a furnace to refine the racial stock. In one of the most grotesque inversions of victimhood ever printed, he wrote, "Even the enemies of the Jews become the instruments of their national regeneration." In this twisted logic, the hatred of the Jew becomes a gift because it purges the weak, the assimilated, the unfit. It sharpens identity through pain. It breeds warriors from suffering. This is racial masochism with a supremacist endpoint. And the endpoint was always a state, a racialized, land-bound nation formed from a shared ancestral stock. Hess called for a Jewish return to Palestine as a racial tribe, reclaiming territory by right of blood. His vision of Jewish identity excluded more than it included. The Jew he exalted was European, secular, and racially aligned with the very Germans he once praised. Absent from this vision were Ethiopian Jews, Mizrahim, Torah scholars, and the countless communities who defined their Jewishness through humility, exile, and faith. To Hess, they were irrelevant. Worse, they were impurities. He didn't want a Jewish people. He wanted a Jewish race. And not just any race, Germanic, European, white. One shaped in the mold of German racial supremacy, forged through suffering and reborn on stolen land. It was a calculated ideological transfer. Hess had seen the strength of blood-based nationalism in Europe. He helped to create it. He knew its power. He wanted it replicated, refined, and rebranded. Rome and Jerusalem was a Zionist mutation of German racial theology. The covenant was rewritten in the language of soil and chromosomes. The exile was reframed as breeding ground. And the future, if one followed Hess's logic to its end, it was never coexistence, but ethno-national conquest. Moses Hess did not bring Judaism into the modern world. He betrayed it.